Hi everybody, my name is Barry Schwartz and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, September 9th, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at seroundtable.com. First up, we talked about last week how there was a Google update. It seems like there was definitely a Google update. Google would not confirm it. John Mueller said if there was anything to announce, that wouldn't be something that we'd have to do on their time zone, meaning we're not waiting for Labor Day to announce it. It's just something we have nothing to announce. And he also said we make tons of updates and that don't get announced, 1,000 plus per year. And he also said I'm not aware of anything special that we announce, but we're always making updates. So again, Google's John Mueller is basically saying no comment. But he did comment slightly saying that it wasn't Penguin. He said for sure it's definitely not a Penguin update. He said it might be a mixture of things going on, but it's definitely not a Penguin update. He said this in a Webmaster video. That SEOs and webmasters could definitely rule out Penguin. It wasn't a Penguin update. Google also announced this week that specifically a reminder that they are going to go ahead and penalize, or they have the reserve the right to penalize widget links. So if you are if you provide widgets and you have links in those widgets that are not no-followed, Google has the right to go ahead and penalize you, the widget developer, for having these links. And Google gave these examples of different types of widget links. So let me just zoom in there so you can see them. So you can see here, has a link over here. It also has link over here, best free hit counter, and then a bunch of links in the footer over here. So again, Google said they are going to go ahead and penalize these types of links if you don't follow them or remove them. Those who embed these widgets on their website should also make sure to follow those links or remove those links or not use the widget at all if they have these links, because it could technically come back to haunt you. Google penalized one of the largest TV networks in Turkey. It's called Akun, I guess. And they weren't showing up in Google search results for the search on their domain name. They are one of the largest TV networks in that area, and it's something around, I believe, Google News spam and some other types of spam. I'm not exactly sure what the issue specifically was, but it seems like Google has penalized them, and it seems like it's all over the news, especially in Turkey. Moving on, Google said they are specifically working on a Penguin announcement, so that when Penguin does roll out, it seems like Google will post about it once it starts rolling out, and they are working on the language of that announcement, which means to me potentially that Penguin is really coming out soon, hopefully really, really soon. John Mueller said we're working on an announcement for that there, meaning Penguin, so like when it's ready, we will know. And he then goes on to explain that he doesn't know when the announcement will come. He suspects it will happen once Google starts pushing it out, but Google has an announcement ready, or they're working on an announcement, and I guess that means it's coming soon, hopefully. I posted the monthly Google Webmaster Report this month, the September version, and it goes through a lot of different things, so definitely take a look at that. If you missed the past month, you were on vacation for a month or so, definitely take a look at that, and you will be able to catch up on stuff. I'm not going to go through it now because there's lots to discuss, but it's definitely a very useful report that I take all the major Google stuff, Webmaster related, and put it in a single post for the past month. Google's Search Analytics report stopped working as of, I think, September 1st. It probably is the worst time because we had that September 2nd update, and because of that, people weren't able to really see if they were hit according to Google Search Console analytics data. You saw this little update tool, and it basically meant that there was an issue, specifically a system error began dropping all search analytics data after August 31st. And then, as of yesterday, Google actually started to backfill that data, so you should be able to see that information in your Search Analytics report in Google Search Console going forward. So here's a chart again that shows Google starting to backfill that data. And Google said Search Analytics data has had a delay, but it should be catching up soon. And the repair is currently in progress. It seems to be rolling out to many people now. So you can definitely take a look at that and compare to see if you were hit by September 2nd or not. Google also announced this week Google reviews from the web, which are going in the local knowledge panel. So if you have these local knowledge panels, this is an example of the local knowledge panel, which shows up on the right-hand side of the Google desktop results or at the top of the mobile results. So now they have this new section called Review from the Web. Zoom in there so you can see it. So reviews from the web, and it'll pull reviews from third-party websites, link to them, showing you the reviews for that specific company from across the web. And again, that launched this week. It actually launched last night. Google announced it on Wednesday, but it started rolling out last night. John Mueller basically said, if you have more traffic to your website, doesn't mean you necessarily need more links. It's a very interesting way he said it. I found it unusual, so I covered it. I like to cover what John Mueller says, but basically the question was, will Google expect you to have more links to your website as your traffic increases? And John Mueller basically said it doesn't work that way, so don't really worry about it. So that's a pretty cool thing we never covered before from John Mueller. Google, over the past week and a half or so, webmasters have been noticing a crawl error increase in the Google Search Console, where there was a spike in the number of crawl errors. Simon actually said he saw it in September jump from 10,000 to 50,000 different crawl errors. And he asked if it was related to Penguin or whatever. And we covered before in the past that crawl errors, crawl spikes, and so forth have nothing to do with algorithms. And John Mueller said that again. But he also said that he did double check into these reports because he saw these reports of crawl error spikes. And he said the ones he looked into were essentially Google saying, hey, our algorithms are saying we should crawl these old URLs to see if anything changed. And we did that, and I guess they did that in a mass cycle. Maybe Google bot was hungry. It's very hard to say, but John Mueller said it has nothing to do with any algorithm updates or anything like that. This is interesting. A new Google feature snippet. Google feature snippets are constantly changing and so forth. But it's interesting to see that Dr. Pete found this, or Pete Myers from Moz. So let me zoom in there a little bit. And you can see here, you did a search for... Hopefully you can see that. Let me zoom it out a little bit more. You could do a search for, you did 29 weeks pregnant, he did a search for, and it said, this is the feature snippet for a search for how big is my baby at 29 weeks. And if you click on that, it changes the query. But it was very interesting to see that Google's actually showing a feature snippet for a different query when it thinks that's what you mean for your query. It's pretty cool. Google is testing bolder and darker AMP signs. Again, let's zoom in a little bit there and show it to you. So here you can see the darker version. Here is the typical version, which is light. So let's compare them side by side. You got dark and light, dark and light. Google's testing this, so it's very interesting to see that. Google's constantly testing stuff, which they don't announce, obviously. Google's John Mueller also said that if you do a site command for a site that does have rich snippets, implemented technically correctly, that it should show in the site command. Now, he said, if it shows in the site command, but it's not showing for your queries, that symbolizes that Google thinks your site is not at the quality benchmark that it should be for you to warrant a rich snippet in the search results, but it should show in the site command if you're technically implemented correctly, even though you might not reach that threshold, which is pretty interesting. Google AdWords launched Shop the Look, which basically lets you search for something like cocktail attire. And here's an example. You can actually see it in action. You do a search for cocktail attire, and then it will take you to Shop the Look. You can scroll through like a carousel, click on results, and when you click on something, it will actually take you to the Google Shopping results, which you can actually buy through Google Shopping, which is pretty cool. That's something that Google launched specifically within the shopping ad network. Google Analytics stopped working for a bunch of people, specifically the real-time reports. So if you actually try to access it, it would actually give you this error, which looks like this: resource is not available. Please try again later. And this is plaguing a lot of people. Google Analytics confirmed the issue. They said the fix should have been out yesterday, but it's still not out. They said for those who have this issue, a temporary workaround is to clear your cookies or go to a new browser and try it there. But again, people are still having this issue as of this morning, so hopefully there'll be a fix for everybody very shortly. Google Maps is showing 2-packs again. Instead of the 3-pack, they're showing examples of 2-packs. I think the 2-packs only show up when it's in a very remote area and the query doesn't bring back all 3 results. So here's an example of Google only showing 2-packs, and we've seen this before in the past. But in very dense areas like New York City and so forth, it's very rare. It's almost impossible probably to see a two-pack in terms of local results. Matt Cutts did a rare interview about his challenges working at Google. He talked about people threatening him. He talked about the juggling, the difference between working at Google to fight spam, as well as talking to webmasters who are trying to manipulate the search results, and the good intentions webmasters have, and then some of his what he's doing right now at the digital defense team at the Pentagon. So definitely take a look at that interview. It was pretty interesting, at least for me, at least. And search engine strategies. Pretty much the first real SEO, SEM conference ever has supposedly shut down. These are reports from people who are very close to the conference that I've been seeing in back channels, as well as public things that people are posting, that the conference, which launched in November 1999 in San Francisco under the Search Engine Watch brand as Search Engine Strategies, has officially, they haven't announced anything, but it seems like it has closed down. Also, the ClickZ event supposedly have closed down as well. If you go to searchenginestrategies.com, you get this. And it's very sad because most of us, including myself, really got our start from this conference. But of course, we have other conferences. There's tons of conferences out there now. Of course, Danny Sullivan's conferences, which Danny Sullivan started this conference, and then he moved on, and he's now doing Search Marketing Expo and so forth. But it's very sad to see that the founding conference of the industry, has supposedly actually closed down. I tried calling the office, there was no answer, and but all the people who are very close to the conference have confirmed with me, at least, that it has indeed closed down. I just can't get a comment directly from the office. In any event, thanks so much for listening to the Search Buzz video recap. Again, my name is Barry Schwartz, and this is Search News we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable, SEOroundtable.com over the past week. Everyone have a great weekend. I'll see you guys next. Bye.